Hi everyone, and welcome back to my Consultants Explorer channel. I'm Charlie, and I'm here to help you explore the early career years of management consulting, help you to be successful at it, and show you how to make the most of the opportunities that it can open up for you. I spent 8.5 years at Accenture, building the most incredible launchpad for my own career, and now that I'm starting and running my own businesses, I get to choose what I work on, whenever and wherever I want to in the world. And that is the kind of freedom that I can help you find in your journey, which starts just as minded in management consulting. Today I'm up at the crack of dawn to hopefully get a great view of sunrise for you over the course of this video, and I'm recording from Parque Eduardo in Lisbon. So one of the things that makes applicants most successful in their application to a grad job or a junior consulting job in general is being able to articulate exactly how your experience is actually relevant for the role that you're applying to. And most applicants don't know enough about the day-to-day detail of the role that they're applying for to really be able to pinpoint what in their experience is most important and relevant for that role. And that's fair enough, because consulting companies generally don't broadcast this kind of useful detail. And so in the end, the most viable option always seems for candidates to just write down all of their experience on their application or their CV, in the hope that someone or whoever that reads it is going to be able to pick out the relevant experience. But most CV screeners and interviewers don't have the time or the inclination to do the hard work of translating your experience into something meaningful either. And so there's a really high risk that your most relevant experience goes entirely undetected, and that their ending evaluation of you isn't as good as it could be. So given I've personally spent time going through the trials and tribulations on both sides of the fence, in this video, I'm going to give you some hopefully helpful tips on how to articulate the experience that you might have as a current or recent university grad in a way that makes it sound compelling that you're a very hireable candidate. I'll first go through a list of more formal things that you could put on your application or on your CV, and that you can also say in an interview. I'll then go through a list of more informal things that are better for being said than written, so much more appropriate for interview. So starting with the more formal list, and I'll split this into 4 sections: operational skills, responsibility, people management, and character. If there has been any instance in which you have presented results, findings, opinions, or an argument to someone senior and it went well, then this indicates that you're able to summarize findings, make a presentation, and then speak articulately in front of a potentially intimidating audience. This is important in the consulting world because often you have to present your work to senior clients who may not have been very close at all to the detail that you've been working through. So being able to summarize and present your findings in an effective way is a really key skill for consultants. Similarly, if you've ever had to speak in front of an audience, perhaps in your role in a university society, then you've demonstrated the ability to speak clearly, to take a lead role, and to be confident even when you're not feeling confident. This is something you have to do regularly as a consultant, because you'll often be presenting in meetings to a potentially very high number of people who you may not know very well, if at all. And speaking in front of an audience is not something that comes naturally to most people, so having experience of it is a great thing to call out. If you've earned a wage, for example, in a bar job or something equivalent, whilst you've been studying, then you've had to balance your time effectively. Your studies require your focus, but earning a living does too. And so, alongside all of the usual socializing and everything that goes on at university, it's impressive to be able to hold down a job whilst at the same time completing your studies to a high standard. Balancing time like this is a core skill for consultants who often have lots of responsibilities on all at the same time, across client project work, internal consulting activities, and even personal life demands. It's often not something that recent graduates can do very well, so definitely call out your ability to do this already. Now, clearly, if you've had some sort of internship or corporate work experience before applying to consulting, then that's definitely something to call out in your CV and in your application. But be specific about what you learned there that you know will be applicable to your role in consulting. For example, did you learn how to summarize effectively? Or did you learn how to speak to clients? Or did you just learn how to write professional emails? Perhaps you even learned some core consulting skills like how to operate on client sites, or how to work while you're living in a hotel, or even how a technology project lifecycle runs from analysis through to test and release. Capitalize on the fact that you have relevant knowledge here. It will go a long way. As part of your university degree, did you learn how to write complex Excel formulae, or how to quality check Excel numbers? This is something more commonly seen with maths and science graduates, but even if you've had the opportunity to develop your Excel skills through just a personal fun project, then these are skills that you will likely re-employ as a consultant. Most people can use Excel to a basic level, but if you're comfortable with specific formulae, or if you've learned techniques to check that a model is watertight and that all totals add up as expected, then make sure that you call that out on your application. Most students will have done some sort of research whilst at university, but for art students, where your research is much more qualitative, did you come to really learn how to trust a source? Consultants often have to use research as part of their approach to solving clients' problems, and so knowing which sources to reference and which not to trust is an important part of providing high-quality consulting output. State that you know how to perform high-quality research on referenceable, credible sources, and that you enjoy pulling together everything that you've read into a set of findings and a recommendation. Okay, the next category is responsibility. The experience that I cover in this section proves that you're able to be trusted with responsibility that isn't necessarily expected yet of your level. You may well have helped to run a society at university, and regardless of what that society was, the very fact that you helped to run it shows your organisational skills and leadership. You may even have created it too, in which case you also have nous and vision and persistence. Consultants with these qualities typically climb the ladder really fast, and to prove that you have them already at such a junior level is a really great sign of your potential. Make sure that you highlight the skills that you learned or that you employed whilst you were in that society that you'll be able to redeploy successfully as a consultant. For example, if you ran the finances for that society, then you can outline how you're able to plan ahead and to steer a team to work within limits and to be held to account for overall spend patterns through always being organised and on top of the numbers. This is exactly what consultants that lead project teams have to do, and so being able to do that early is definitely a bonus. Perhaps you were voted into a captain position on a sports team, in which case you have proof that you are not only a team player, but you also are able to be highly trained in a specific skill set. Consultants not only have to be good team players because they work in teams, but they're also charged out to clients on the basis of the specialised skills or expertise that they've developed. But more than that, if you can talk about what you did in that captain position to inspire and motivate your team to achieve greater and greater successes, then that's an amazing story to tell, because that shows that you might know exactly how to do the same with a consulting team one day. On to our next category, people management. Any examples where you have helped, coached, or mentored people are very relevant to your application, because consultants have to help coach and mentor their juniors from almost as soon as they start their career. In your later university years, there might have been an opportunity to sign up to becoming a mentor figure for new joiners, to help them settle in and to show them the ropes and to generally be available to answer their questions. Or you might have been assigned new joiners on your course, in which case you can help them to progress as you did. These are great examples of your ability to perceive the needs of those junior to you and to respond to those needs for their benefit. Consultants have to do this all the time for the people they're responsible for. And if you can do it well, then it not only is really fulfilling for you, it can also save you a lot of time. You may also have been able to occupy a pastoral care position of some sort, perhaps a people rep role associated with your halls or your college. If you were an official support outlet for people who had personal issues or who just wanted a chat, then that is commendable experience. It shows your ability to care for those around you and to be a trusted and confidential space. Not every consultant needs to be able to do this so deeply, but if you're able to do it, then you'll be an asset to your firm and to its employees, and you'll be recognised for your talent. Okay, final category, character. Now, you don't need to have every consulting skill when you join consulting. It's clear that you'll learn a lot over the course of your career. But there are certain experiences that you might have that can indicate things about your nature and character that will prove important when it comes to being able to learn and grow quickly as a new consultant. One of the things that you might have done is spend some of your university time abroad, which you may well have just done for the food and the sun at the time, but you also demonstrated independence and confidence and savviness in the fact that you did it. After all, you live somewhere that's far away from your friends and your family, in a country you're still learning the language of, and you made the decision to do that over staying in your comfort zone. Pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and being able to operate independently are important consulting skills, because in consulting you're moving teams and locations and even working abroad a lot. So the faster you're able to thrive in that environment and operate entirely independently, the faster you'll go up the career ladder. Make sure you outline those skills. Relatedly, if you have independently taught yourself something in addition to your university degree, purely because you're interested or because you can see that it's valuable to have those skills, then that is a great character trait to have. Your desire to learn will fare you really well as a consultant, and your discipline and conscientiousness in actually acting on that desire is even more significant. Explain your motivations for learning, how you did it, and what you did if things got tough. Consultants have to continuously upskill and reskill, especially at the junior levels, so you'll be great at it if it comes naturally to you. Universities sometimes give out awards, just like companies do, and both types of awards are celebrated and congratulated internally, but people outside of the organisation often struggle to understand the significance of those awards. If you were given an award, then there's something great about you. But when you include it in your application, make sure that you explain why your university chose you over your peers and why that award is important. Help your assessor to understand and agree with you why it means so much. Outside of the work and educational experience that you'll have on your CV, there's also usually a section that includes a little personal description. Most people use this section to talk about what they like to do in their free time or what their passions are. I think it's great to use this section to talk about the books that you like to read and the educational events that you like to go to, because it shows your curiosity and the power of your mind. Consultants are hired because they're smart people that do smart things, and so the more that you can show how smart you are, the better. Okay, that concludes the formal list. The next set of things we'll cover are a little bit more informal, so these are best to bring up in interview rather than writing on your application or CV. One of the common competency or psychometric questions that you get in interview centers around your ability to respond to challenges and overcome obstacles. No matter what the circumstances of your challenge, if you manage to overcome it with a "there's always a way" kind of mindset, then you have great experience to talk about in interview. It might be, for example, that your dissertation professor went on leave partway through your dissertation, which you felt interrupted your progress. Or maybe you even had disruptive family issues during an exam period. The way that you responded to these challenges and made sure that your studies kept up well is really what matters. And besides, any of these sorts of things can happen during your work life too. Another common question in interview can be around confrontation and how you deal with it. Like a situation in which you just disagree with the person that's standing in front of you. It could have been at university that you had to work through opposing perspectives with your tutorial or lab partner, or even that you just completely disagreed with your professor. It doesn't matter what the opinions were on either side. What matters is how you balance remaining true to your own beliefs with being respectful of the other person. Consultants often disagree within their own teams about how to approach something, and sometimes they even disagree with their clients. So being able to handle this kind of confrontation with the appropriate diligence is key. Okay, final point. Maybe you weren't captain of your sports team, but maybe you did actually set up lots of goals for your striker, or essentially you created opportunities for someone else in your team to get all the glory. This makes you a brilliant teammate, and it's a really important role. If you're on a consulting team, then being a glory hunter never works. You want to be the person who's working really hard to make the whole team successful. It will be noticed, and into the longer term, you'll see how much that team wants to continue working with you. So that's everything for now. When you're a graduate, it can be really hard to know how to position your experience in a way that makes it sound relevant for your assessors and your interviewers. But I hope that this video has helped spark some ideas for you. If that's the case, then let me know by clicking the like button. And if you'd like to see what I post next, then definitely subscribe to my channel. Social media links are below if you'd like those, and if you have any questions or comments, then feel free to use the comments box below and I will do my best to answer absolutely everything. In the meantime, thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great day, and I wish you all the best with your exploring.